So anybody who has a bit of a spare time, couple of days a week, they can pretty much join.
Yeah, look, we take people from all walks of life. We've got people who are still employed. We've got others that are self-employed, others that are retired, semi-retired.
So what are your key challenges that you face, like day to day, or like that you have seen in last 5 years?
We still get people with engines that break down. We get people that that run out of fuel. That's unfortunate because that's avoidable.
How many, like let's say out of 100 boats go into the water, how many people usually not report?
And on average, 1 in 10 people that go on the water log on. 9 out of 10 don't.
Wow. Yeah, right. My question, so VHF radio is very important.
And so what that means is you could be anywhere in our waters and call for assistance on Channel 16. Someone will hear you.
How dangerous are our waters?
Look, I don't think they're dangerous at all in the right circumstances.
Has there ever been an incident where you couldn't rescue?
Yes. Let's talk about the happy times first.
What are your key challenges?
It's very hard to be everywhere for everyone all the time, but that's what I want to do.
Has there been any time where you guys have said it's too risky for volunteers?
Not in my 10 years, no. We have that ability because they're volunteers.
Thing will be with people. What should they be mindful of when they go into the water?
Be mindful of conditions, be mindful of your equipment, and be mindful of your limitations. So sometimes...
Hey guys, welcome to Studio 9, another episode with some of the amazing people in our community. Well, today's episode is very important for someone who enjoys time on the water here in Hervey Bay. We joined by Graeme, the Deputy Unit Commander of MRQ Hervey Bay, a service that operates 24/7 a day, 7 days a week, saving lives at sea. We'll be talking about how marine rescue actually works, the role volunteers play, how the service is funded, and what every bear should know before heading out. We also dive into the challenges, the rewards, and even have a bit of fun with a rapid fire round at the end. So, Graeme, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I think we should start with what is MRQ?
Marine Rescue Queensland is a state government supported volunteer-run organisation whose purpose in being is the saving of lives at sea. We here in Hervey Bay, that extends to a line up towards Bundaberg and down south to Boonaroo and Tincan Bay. The rough area of water that we look after primarily here is 5,000 square kilometres across to Gari, the island, and we also conduct medical evacuations off the island. If someone is sick or injured on the island and needs to get to hospital, we go over in support of Queensland Ambulance Service. They send the paramedics, and we are in effect a floating ambulance to bring the patient back.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's state government supported, state government funded. But strongly relying on volunteers and ably supported by the community as well. We've got some wonderful people that make donations. We've got some magnificent organisations that make donations, namely Hervey Bay RSL and Hind Timber, that they used to inject money into us when we were a purely volunteer organisation, self-funded. And now they still support us, which is wonderful.
So how long this has been going for, like?
Marine Rescue Hervey Bay, in different guises and different names, has been around for 52 years. Started out known as Air Sea Rescue, then it changed to Volunteer Marine Rescue, and then December 2024 changed to Marine Rescue Queensland when our organisation joined the state organisation.
Okay, so it is pretty much run by state?
Yeah, managed by state, funded by state, run by individuals.
Run by individuals, locally and everything. So now you're saying if I go to Brisbane, the Brisbane has MRQ?
Yes. So we're still in a period of transition where Marine Rescue Queensland has units up and down the coast of Queensland, all the way up to Torres Strait, all the way down to the south of Queensland. There is a process still in place where the local Coast Guard flotillas will hopefully come across as well. And once that happens, it will be a single organisation for the saving of lives at sea, which will make things so much easier for the volunteers, more effective for the state government and emergency services, but really good for the boatie, because boaties don't have to join their local marine rescue, don't have to pay for rescues and things like that. If someone breaks down, we go out, we take them home, and all we're looking for from them is a smile. Yeah. And maybe a donation, but definitely a smile. That's it.
Yeah. So completely run by volunteers. So when you recruit, how does it? What happens in the recruitment process?
So people come to us from all different methods. I look after our Facebook page, and as you'd expect, Facebook is a great recruiting tool. We talk to fishing clubs, we talk to schools. People walk past our base down at Urangan and see it and come in and ask a question. Other people come in to thinking they have to sign up because they're a boatie, and we realise that they don't have to. They see that there might be a benefit in being a volunteer there. That was me. I turned up 10 years ago wanting to get some local knowledge on the water, and so I thought the best way to do that was to become a crew person on the boat, and that's 10 years ago, and I've progressed since then.
Fantastic. So anybody who has a bit of a spare time, a couple of days a week, they can pretty much join.
Yeah, look, we take people from all walks of life. We've got people who are still employed. We've got others that are self-employed, others that are retired, semi-retired, all sorts of different things, and they can work as crew, they can work as a radio operator, they can work in administration, our maintenance team. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to come with a vast boating experience. We actually teach people how to be rescue vessel crew. So we want people to come with an interest, a passion, a sense of community spirit. They're the main things we're looking for.
Yeah. And what do you think, like when a training is done, how long usually the people are in the water ready to rescue?
So the training for crew, there's an element that's theoretical training. So you've got to learn things like how boats work, a little bit of navigation, how to save yourself in the water, so how to float in the water, how to wear a life jacket, those sorts of things. And then after that, there's practical experience. We want them to know how to tie the sort of knots that we use in using tow ropes and things like that. We want them to know how to operate safely and effectively on the back of our rescue vessel when we go out to help people. So it really comes down to the speed at which the trainee picks it up and how much time they've got to dedicate to it per week. But typically, we'd get the theory done in say 8 weeks, and we'd have them as an effective, competent crew on our boats within some months.
So it's pretty much a 24-hour operation.
It's definitely a 24-hour operation. The radio operators open up the office at 6 a.m, maintain shift through till 6 p.m, and then at 6 p.m, it gets switched over to a phone that I'm carrying right now, and so if someone's out there and it's 8 o'clock at night, 2 a.m. in the morning, and they're in trouble, they can either radio on VHF channel 16, and it gets picked up in Gladstone, and
what do you call it? What channel is that?
VHF channel 16.
Channel 16, VHF. Yep.
And it'll get picked up by Gladstone, and they'll call us. Or if they've got a phone, and if there's phone coverage, they can ring 000. It'll go through to police, and police will call us. And in that instance, the phone that I'm carrying tonight will wake me up, and I'll wake up the skipper, wake up the crew, and out they go. So we don't have people at the base 24 hours a day, but our response is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
On call, if something happens at night or whatever. What an amazing thing that you guys do.
It's something where we are, me individually and us collectively, are very proud of. We have definitely saved lives at sea. And when you come back from a job like that, you don't need to be paid because the satisfaction is there. The look of relief on the face of people when you pull up alongside them. You know, when they first call us, they're broken down and they might be getting washed further out to sea. They might be taking on water, or they might be seriously ill. And when we pull up alongside, you can see the relief on their face. They know that they're safe because they know that we're there to help them. And then when we get them back on shore, it's even greater relief for them.
So who is your backup? So let's say you went to save somebody and suddenly your boat breaks down or something. So is there actual Queensland, like so Hervey Bay police?
Queensland Police have water police locally. We can back ourselves up too because we've got 2 vessels. So if we go out in one and it breaks down, which it shouldn't because we look after them, but if it has technical problems, or if there's another task that comes in, so we might be doing a medical evacuation off the island, and there's a call that a vessel is in distress, we have the ability to call in another crew, put them on the other boat, and conduct both simultaneously. But if the world's coming to an end, there's Queensland Police, Water Police. We work very well with a great bunch of people, very capable, and we have at times in serious search and rescue jobs, we've worked alongside them, conducting coordinated searches with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So with this volunteers, the funding and everything that comes through, so that basically for the upkeep of the maintenance of the boats and things like that, buy gear for the rescue. Like I got no idea. So I'm just like, so that's what the fundings and everything is generally used for.
So boats are holes in the water into which you pour money. They're very expensive things to run. Our primary vessel is just under 12 metres in length. When we bought it, it cost us just under $1.4 million. And I've got to say, community funded. That wasn't state government because we weren't MRQ at that stage. So this community...
Like local Hervey Bay and...
Local Hervey Bay bought that boat. The one organisation that got us over the line, we were short on money, we couldn't sign the contract, and we literally had an individual from a charity called Hand Heart Pocket, and it's a charity of Freemasons Queensland, came into the office one day and said, I hear you're short on the money for your new boat. We've got $400,000 we'd like to give you.
Okay.
And they did, got us over the line, contract was signed, and the boat's been delivered, and it'll be 4 years old in August. Yeah. But so that's buying the boat.
Yeah.
Then there's the upkeep. Servicing engines, paying for the fuel, upgrading systems. Electronic systems don't last forever. There's stuff that the personal flotation devices, life jackets, that the crew wear have a life. We have to replace those. So there's always an ongoing cost in boat ownership.
Yeah. So how many volunteers we're talking when we're talking?
We've got at the moment, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it'd be around 75. So 75 volunteers, and they, like I said, they make up the crew, the skippers, the radio operators, administrative people, and the people that make up our maintenance team. And the maintenance team, I've got to sing their praises because they'll go down there and they'll do things like the sort of maintenance we can do on the boat, so it's self-help. They'll do things like wash the vehicle, mow the lawn, all sorts of things.
Amazing, yeah.
That keeps a place running, and and they enjoy it.
So, and there is no age group or anything, a minimum age requirement to join as part of marine rescue?
Got to be, I think now minimum age is 16. I don't think we'd be putting a 16-year-old on a rescue vessel because we don't always go out in the best of weather, and it's not fair to do that to a minor. But there is no upper age limit. We've got radio operators who are in their 80s. I myself just turned 68. We've got, I think we're skewed to the older end of the age bracket, but that's probably because most of our volunteers are either retired or semi-retired.
Do they have any ex-background of being a marine rescue or the ex-boarders? Nothing.
Our backgrounds are diverse. Mine is ex-military. There's probably another 6 people that have a military background. We've got people who were self-employed. We've got one academic that works at the university here. So all sorts of backgrounds, and the diversity is wonderful because it means that you don't have everyone with a common mindset. So if you're looking for a solution to something, you've got a whole bunch of different viewpoints that might come up with something completely out of left field that is the right answer.
Yeah. Okay, so I know that in last 10 years, the whole thing of with boating and people being on the water has significantly increased, you know? So what are your key challenges that you face like day to day or like that you have seen in last 5 years?
You're right. The number of boats has increased. Happy to report it would seem that the technical standard of the vessels is improving as well. We still get people with engines that break down. We get people that that run out of fuel. That's unfortunate because that's avoidable. That's
correct.
Yeah, you
check both before you go to the water.
It's about prior preparation. We want people to know their vessels. We want people to log on with us. So it's really important. The reason the radio operator sits there at 6 a.m. in the morning is not just to take calls for assistance, but for people to either phone in or radio up and say, I'm going out, and the radio operator will ask some questions. And the sort of questions they'll ask will be, what's your registration number on your boat, for starters? How many people have you got on board? Give us a rough idea of where you're going and what time you'll be back. And by having that information, our radio log will alarm for the radio operator if they're not back by that time. And we know, okay, someone hasn't come back. Do we need to worry? Do we need to call police? Will we need to end up putting a boat on the water to go and look for them? So by knowing where they are, roughly where they are, that helps the search a lot. Because if you're broken down at that, let's say you go out in your boat, you haven't told Marine Rescue where you're going, and you break down and it turns out your battery's flat, your radio won't work. And out on Hervey Bay waters, you don't have to go far before your mobile phone won't have coverage. So not only will we not know where you are, we won't even know you're out there. And that's a scary thought.
How many, like let's say out of 100 boats go into the water, how many people usually not report?
So every time I go down to base, I drive past the boat ramp car park and have a bit of a look and have a guess as to how many cars and trailers there are. And when I arrive, I always walk in and say hello to the radio operator and say, how many people logged on? And on average, 1 in 10 people that go on the water log on. 9 out of 10 don't.
Wow. Yeah, right.
It doesn't cost them anything to log on. It's a free service. Everything we do is a free service. And we'd much prefer for them to tell us that they're going. We don't want to know what their favourite fishing spots are. We just want to know that they're there so that if they're late coming back, if we can't get in communication with them, we know that we have to do something.
Can you track the boats?
No. You can't. No, I said no too quickly. There's a thing called AIS that some boats have, but recreational vessels don't have. Our boat does, so we can track them, track our boat. Recreational vessels don't have them. So if they're out there and they're in trouble and they're radio doesn't work, their mobile phone doesn't work, the only way they can call for assistance is if they've got an EPIRB, an emergency beacon, which is a good thing. It's great if they have it. And they can fire that off, and of course they can fire flares, but for a flare you've got to know someone's there to see it.
That's right. Yeah, okay. So what is a couple of common reasons why people call you?
Engine breakdown, and there's all sorts of things that can happen. They can service the engine themselves, and they might have not done a good enough job. And just luck of the draw, you can have your engine serviced, but something fails, a spark plug fails, or something like that. So breakdowns happen quite frequently. Like I said, there are instances where people go out with insufficient fuel. The way we look at things and the way we suggest it to boaties is whatever your fuel holding on your boat is, divide it into third. 1/3 for out, 1/3 for back, and 1/3 for reserve. Because the weather you go out in might not be the weather you come back in. You might have the seas banging against you, the winds blowing against you on the way back, and your fuel consumption will go up. If you've split your tank in half and said half out, half back, you might run out 2 kilometres from harbour. Yeah. So 1/3 out, 1/3 back, 1/3 reserve. So fuel, we do get instances of illness. We have had, not this year, but in previous years, we have had some instances of people on boats or on the beach from their boat being stung by irukandjis, the little stingers. So there's all sorts of things like that. The medical evacuations off the island, it can be anything. It can be a dingo bite. It can be stood on a stick and cut their foot open. We have had a lady in late pregnancy that had complications. We've had people with chest pains, all sorts of things that can happen in what really is a remote wilderness environment. It just happens it's just offshore from us, and we'll get called over there to help them out.
Okay, so Graeme, tell us, so what happens when? What is the time of the year? Do you have a season, off season, or there's a time? I know that probably Christmas must be very big because everybody's on the water.
It can really the density of calls to us can change. There's been times where Easter and Christmas break, it's just wall to wall boats out there and lots calling for assistance. But at the same time, a couple of years ago, through Easter, we were thinking, we're going to get hammered. Didn't get one call. Lots of boats out, but boats that didn't break down. People didn't need assistance, and we're happy with that. We are happy if people go out, have a great time, be safe on the water, and they come back without an incident. We are exceptionally happy as an outcome.
So what's the highest number of calls that you've taken? You have received? What's the highest number of rescue calls in a day, 20 calls?
Recent years, I guess the most in a day would be 3 or 4. But I do recall some earlier years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, for a time we had eight calls in one day. And that's busy because you might have to go halfway up the island and it's just a breakdown, but they need to be towed back. Then you tow them back, but there's a duration of bringing them back, and partway back there'll be the next call. We've got to go and help someone else. And in instances like that, that's where we might bring in a second crew on the other boat and split the workload.
Yeah, wow, okay. So do you think, is there enough awareness of people and bodies when they go to the water or it needs to be more awareness? What needs to be done? So
what we'd love to see boaties be more mindful of is preparation and safety. It is really easy, and I've fallen for it myself. You look outside and get, great day, let's take the boat out. But before making that decision, if you haven't made sure, how old's the fuel in the tank? Has it been a year since I've taken the boat out? The fuel might be no good. So that preparation, I've serviced the engine, I've checked the battery, I've checked the fuel. we've got enough fuel, let's go. So there's that, preparation. Safety. Knowing where your safety equipment is on the boat. When I take my personal boat out, and I've got grandkids, we say everyone on the boat wears a life jacket. And these days, the life jackets aren't those big, chunky, uncomfortable things. They're the inflatable ones. So everyone on our boat takes out a life jacket, wears a life jacket. Everyone that goes out on a marine rescue vessel wears a life jacket. If you've got life jackets on board your recreational vessel, but they're stowed away up front, chances are if you're going to need them, you're going to need them now, not 5 minutes after I drag them out. So from a safety perspective, we recommend put your life jacket on as you leave the boat ramp. Know your equipment. Know how to use your chart plotter, which is an electronic map. Know how to read that. Know how to get a latitude and longitude off it, because often when someone will call up, the radio operator will ask for a location, and we've actually had people say, I can see a big island. There's lots of big islands around here. We don't know which one. What are you talking about? Which one? So if they can use their chart plotter to get an accurate latitude and longitude, and then read it through to the radio operator, it makes the crew's job so much better. We can get out there faster, so the boatie will feel that they're being responded to more quickly. Get them hooked up, bring them home, and ready for the next job. So there's the safety thing. Know how to use your electronics. Have a VHF radio. Don't rely on your mobile phone.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. So VHF radio is very important.
Yeah. So up and down the coast of Gari, Fraser Island, there are radio repeaters for channel 16. And so what that means is you could be anywhere in our waters and call for assistance on channel 16, someone will hear you. But if you're using your mobile phone, if you go past Moon Point, which you can see from the end of the Urangan Pier, Moon Point isn't far. Typically, if you go past Moon Point, your phone coverage drops out. Your phone's useless. But other safety equipment, flares, have a light source, have a sound source. I've been called out to a family in a tinny that was broken down. The mother was able to call 000 on her phone to call for assistance. The police were able to ping her phone and get a rough latitude and longitude. We got out there, and the only light that they had, middle of the night, only light that they had to draw our attention to them was the torch on her mobile phone. And if the battery was flat, that's it. So have the right equipment, make sure it's there, make sure you know how to use it, and make sure it's handy.
How dangerous are our waters?
Look, I don't think they're dangerous at all in the right circumstances. There's a saying, it's better to be on shore wishing you're on water than being on water wishing you're on shore. So if you look out there and the conditions are bad, and if you look at the forecast and you think, the wind's going to blow up from the north, this isn't worth going out, stay home. Use that time to polish the hull. Check your safety equipment. And you'll go out tomorrow or the day after. But you can look out there, you can walk to the end of the jetty or off the breakwater at Urangan, and it looks beautiful. It really does look wonderful, and it's inviting. And I recommend to boaties anywhere to come and enjoy our waters, but do it knowing that things can change, and conditions always change. So no, our waters aren't dangerous if you've got the right equipment, the right mindset, safety focused, check the weather, and be prepared to go, not today.
So do you have like people who can register to you, they get updates, yeah, today's a good day to the water, don't go to the Moon Point, weather is bad. Where do they get all that kind of information?
Bureau of Met, so meteorology.
They're pretty accurate?
I think so. That's what I use. We don't give advice on whether you should take your boat out or not. That is most definitely the decision of the skipper of that boat. Because otherwise, if we say, yeah, no, it's a great day, take your boat out, and they get into trouble, either because of weather or shortfall in their capabilities or equipment or something like that, it's our fault. And so, that's why we avoid giving advice like that. It's most definitely up to the skipper of the boat.
Do you see a lot of first-time boaties there, or it's more experienced guys on the water?
It's a mix. We have had people who just bought the boat, took it out for a run, thought they had enough petrol in it and didn't, and ran out of fuel. Yeah. So again, prior preparation. But look, there's a lot, I'd say maybe the majority of people that are on our waters are long-term experienced boaties, which is great. It means they've got a better feel for where the sandbars are, because this is a very tidal area. That's one of the other reasons we get called up is we've run into a sandbar and we're stuck. We're high and dry. There's nothing we can do. We don't have a helicopter. We can't, once you're up on the sand and the water's receded, the options are we'll come and take your family off the boat and take you off the boat and leave your boat there, or you stay there and wait for the tide to come in. The tide always comes in, but it might not come in until 2 a.m. in the morning.
All right, so I think, Graeme, let's talk about how does it affect the volunteers when they go and rescue, and let's say there's an incident where, has there ever been an incident where you couldn't rescue?
Yes. Let's talk about the happy times first. The volunteers get immense satisfaction out of being able to assist people and seeing a good outcome. And it's not just crew; it's the radio operators. Radio operators sit in the radio room at the base, and they're monitoring the crew out there doing the job. They might be taking phone calls from police, from media, from family. Have you found our loved one yet? So the radio operators are most definitely emotionally engaged in the whole thing. So all of us as a team, crew and radio operators, get immense satisfaction out of a successful rescue. And we've done some very serious ones that have been successful. Sadly, we have been involved in search and rescues that weren't successful, and ended in fatalities. And we take that very seriously. One of the things we do is when we come back, we debrief. What did we do? What could we have done differently? Would it have made a difference to the outcome? How can we improve next time? Those sorts of questions are discussed and answered. But the reality is, when you go out on a boat, there's always a risk that something tragic will happen. And the further up the island you go, and you get to the breaksea spit at the very end, that's the Pacific Ocean on the other side of it. And in the last 4 years, there's been 2 fatalities up there that we were unable to avoid. It happened. We didn't even find the people.
Yeah, okay. Well,
that's a tragedy for the family, without a doubt. But it also impacts us as, like I said, our purpose in being is the saving of lives at sea. And in those instances, we were unsuccessful.
Yeah, okay. So as a deputy, what are your key challenges?
My role is to support our unit commander, so he's the boss. I'm also a point of contact for any of our volunteers. If they've got issues, they can talk to me. So it's organisational. The challenges as the deputy unit commander, keeping on top of things, trying to keep my ear to the ground and listen to enough people. It's very hard to be everywhere for everyone all the time, but that's what I want to do. It's about making sure that our capability is available and ready today, but also that we're growing the capability for the future. So, I might be the deputy for the next 12 months, 24 months. But my vision shouldn't be that, and nor should the unit commander's vision simply be that. We need to look ahead to take into account what our successors might require and what the volunteers might require, and the community. We are there for the community. We're a service provider to the community. So everything we do is focused on making sure that we're providing that robust and reliable safety net for boaties and people on the island.
So how much do you, in correlation, work with the what is that, water police?
Police. So water police are, Queensland Police Service are responsible for search and rescue on land and on sea. Water police, Queensland Police Water Police, primarily look after search and rescue on the sea. So we're not responsible for it, but we assist them. So if there's a complex search and rescue where you might have to have 4 or 6 boats searching in a coordinated fashion, the police, a person called the search and rescue mission commander, will coordinate things and give us a task. Go to this area, conduct this sort of a search grid from this point to that point for this duration, and that's what we'll do. So we work hand in glove with them. Those 2 tragedies we had at the top of the island some years ago, those were a case in point. We went out, Water Police went out. We were VMR at the stage. Our sister squadron at Bundaberg went out as well, and we had search and rescue helicopter and a search and rescue jet, all coordinated by Queensland Police, looking for these people in the water.
Wow. Okay. So, but usually who gets the first call? Do you get the first call or the police gets the first call?
If it's a simple breakdown, we'll get the first call. If it's a real search and rescue, chances are it'll be by either 000 or VHF Channel 16, in which case it'll go to police.
So this VHF 16 goes to the police?
It goes to Maritime Safety Queensland, another government department.
That is completely different from you guys, the police, everything.
We're MRQ. They're not volunteers, we are. And they're responsible for all sorts of different things beyond what we do. So I think the question was, who gets the call first? So it can be us, it can be 000, it can be Maritime Safety Queensland, because they'll pick up the Channel 16 call, or it might be Australian Maritime Safety Agency in Canberra. If someone's fired off their electronic beacon, the EPIRB, that goes up to a satellite and then down to Canberra, and then Canberra will call the police, and then we get tasked by them.
But all this is happening in minutes?
Yes. And the wonderful thing about an electronic beacon, an EPIRB, is it literally happens in minutes, and it gives your position to within tens of square metres. So it means instead of us going out and starting a search pattern, which might cover tens of kilometres at night, it gives us a pinpoint latitude and longitude to go to.
Like where it was called from?
Where it was called from. The search and rescue organisation within Queensland Police have a very clever mechanism. It's a computer program that they can plug in tide flow, wind, all sorts of things, and this thing will calculate if this is where the alarm was set. Conditions are such that we can expect the boat, the person, other things off the boat to have drifted or floated or been blown to this position. So it just means that the job is so much easier. And if we get called quick enough, we get out there and they haven't drifted as far. So communication is key. In a search and rescue, communication is key.
Has there been any time where you guys have said it's too risky for volunteers?
Not in my 10 years, no. We have that ability. Because they're volunteers, we'll never send a crew out who don't want to be out there. Having said that, we've sent crew out in very rough conditions, but we go because the crew is prepared to go, and each crew member is given the opportunity. If you're not comfortable with this, just call out and we'll find a replacement. If there was a cyclone bearing down the coast, that's where our unit commander would make a decision and go, no, if there's one person out in a boat in jeopardy, that's terrible, but we should not put another 5 people out on another boat and also put them in jeopardy.
Yeah, Yeah. And who makes that call?
In that instance, it would be the unit commander. If he was away, it would be me. But it wouldn't be made on the spur of the moment, and it wouldn't be made from an ad hoc perspective. It would be a matter of work out what the conditions are. Are they getting worse? Are they getting better? What other options are there? Is there a helicopter that can go out there and pluck someone out of the water? All these things get factored in, and it might be that the search and rescue authorities say, no, we don't want marine rescue to do it, and they might task water police to do it. So it's a good thing about having multiple assets. They can pick and choose as to what's the best solution, and because water police, they're professionals, they're trained long term in their field. Our volunteers are still trained, but our training probably isn't quite as detailed as water police. Their vessel is very, very capable. It all depends on the scenario.
Yeah. So apart from the 2 vessels that we have in Hervey Bay, do you think it could have been better if we had more boats or vessels?
If you asked our volunteers, it's always better to have more boats. Look, the 2 vessels we've got are exceptionally good. One is a Noosa Cat, and it's named Hind Timber Rescue after Hind Timber, who look after us. It's probably 12 or 13 years old now. It's a little bit like Grandad's axe. It's had multiple new engines, multiple electronics. It's still the same hull. It's a very, very capable workhorse. The big 11-point-something metre primary vessel, 4 years old, very, very capable. One thing we used to have and had to get rid of it a couple of years ago was a trailerable boat, a smaller boat on a trailer. Because if we need to go to Burham Heads, it's faster to hook up a trailered boat and drive it up there than it is to use one of our boats already on the water that might be bashing against the conditions to get there, and might not be able to operate in the shallow conditions of Burham Heads.
So, but in the beginning you said you cover a certain area, right? Hervey Bay. What was the area again?
Okay, so there's at the very end of Gari, Fraser Island, there's a sand spit that extends out into the water probably 20 kilometres. That's called Breaksea Spit. So if you draw a line from the very north of Breaksea Spit across to a little creek called Theodolite Creek, almost all the way to Bundaberg, that's our northern boundary. Our southern boundary is down Great Sandy Straits, and it's near an island called Gregory Island. That area encompasses about 5,000 square kilometres. I haven't worked out what the coastal distance is, but it's considerable. But the good thing is, each of those boundaries, we work with Marine Rescue Queensland in Bundaberg, Sister Squadron. That line that I described is not a boundary as in we don't go beyond it. So we have the ability to work with them in conjunction. And those big search and rescues we did, that was with them as well. We'll work over the line. They'll work over the line, and down south to Tincan Bay and to Boonaroo. It's about flexibility, and it's about supporting the others around us that in the same role.
So the people who are watching this podcast, what would your thing will be with people? What should they be mindful of when they go into the water?
Be mindful of conditions, be mindful of your equipment, and be mindful of your limitations. So sometimes the limitation when you're out on your boat might be the boat, it might be your engine power, it might also be the person driving the boat. So don't go out. If there's any question of the conditions, set it aside, go later. So it is about making sure that you know what you can do and what your boat can do. There's a lot of boats that get around and they've got very low freeboard. There's not much boat that sticks out of the water. In certain conditions, a northerly wind coming into Hervey Bay, it steps the water up. And if a northerly wind is blowing down the bay and the tide's going out, that's called wind against tide. and it steps the waves up dramatically. Makes it so much harder to drive your boat. Your fuel consumption will go up dramatically. And if you've got freeboard, if you don't have much boat sticking out of the water, you'll take water on board. And that's a recipe for risk.
Wow, I think this whole session is so informative because I'm not a really boat person. So I have friends who have boats and everything, but you hear things, and to be honest speaking, till the time we started researching about you and everything, that's what we knew. Oh, there's an establishment who did this. They do volunteer stuff, and it's amazing what you guys do. The whole idea of the podcast is to spread this word around people who are new to the boating, want to get into the water, they should know, what they should not be doing,
And we appreciate the opportunity. It's an important thing. I've spoken on our community radio station here in Hervey Bay. We get invited to fishing clubs. We get invited to Lions Club, Rotary, and we've dealt with some of the schools. So it's not a single pointed message. It's about approaching the community as a whole as best we can to get the messages out. And this podcast is a perfect case in point.
Perfect. Now, Graeme, what we're going to do is at the end of every podcast, we do a quick rapid fire round. Okay, it's a one-liner. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a thing. You just have to just say whatever it is.
I never give short answers, but go for it.
All right, day rescue or night rescue?
For comfort, day, and for sense of satisfaction when it's completed, night.
Calm seas or rough weather?
Calm seas don't make good sailors, so rough.
Radio call or on-water rescue?
I'm biased. I'm a skipper on water, but that is not to demean what the radio operators do.
Coffee before a call out or after?
Definitely after. The big vessel does have a toilet on board, but it's downstairs, and I haven't had to use it yet, but from what I hear, the experience is you come up seasick. So you might have to go back down to offload lunch. So definitely coffee after.
Most important safety item on the boat?
Common sense.
One word to describe MRQ volunteers?
Dedicated.
Best advice for the first-time boaters?
Learn your boat.
If you could change one boating habit, what would it be?
Put your life jacket on as soon as you put the boat in the water, and don't take it off until you get off the water.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, guys. If you have watched the podcast right to the end, all that we ask is do like, share, and subscribe, because podcasts like this do a lot of time and effort to get it to the public. So if you have watched it, thank you very much for watching. Graeme, thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for your opportunity.